Hello, my name is Rose. Welcome back to Discography Reviews, the series where I listen to an artist's discography album by album in chronological order. Today we're going to be looking at the second album from Waif, Nandy Rose's stage name. This album is called Probable Depth. 8 songs, 27 minutes. They're quite short, kind of on the threshold of an album and an EP. Yeah, so I've re-listened to her debut album a couple times since I recorded my initial reaction. I think I've decided it's definitely not really my thing. That doesn't mean it's not great. It is great. It's a really skillfully crafted piece of work. It's just so outside of the normal genres that I listen to frequently that I don't know, I can't really seem to get into it. Nonetheless, I am excited to see what her second album has to offer. Yeah, it's not bad music by any means, it's just not my kind of thing, but that's okay. And we shall persist anyway, because it was really pretty, and yeah, a really interesting mix of traditional sort of keys and vocals, and then some really more modern electronic elements, and it was really cool. So yeah, album number 2. The first track is Desperado, 1:30, so a short intro. Ooh. I love the horns. I think there was some horns on the last album too, but here they're really good. Wow. Wow. Very short and sharp and kind of uncomfortable. It got so loud, and I don't know, it was a bit spooky. Yeah, still a really unique direction sonically. I don't know, I'm a bit confused. It's so much in such a short amount of time. It's a lot to unpack, but yeah, no, that was cool. Track number 2 is Nest. I like the plucky bass. The vocals kind of give me musical vibes. This bit's cool. Ooh. Some reverse stuff, which is always... I'm always a sucker for reversed sounds. She's so good at that, at dynamics. It's a complaint I have a lot about a lot of music, that it's not dynamic enough, but this is dynamic enough. Still a little unsettling, I will say. I think it's probably intentional. It's got the same kind of tone as the first track. A much wider range of instruments, I think, from the first album. It's just more things going on, I think. Again, a very interesting and engaging listening experience that I didn't really enjoy. I don't know, I think it's a bit too avant-garde, you know, for my personal taste, but I will reiterate, still very skilled. So many things going on. So spooky. Yeah, really, some really bold musical statements in here that I do appreciate. Alright, track number 3, Turn Me Around. This is the most popular track off of this album, based on Spotify streams. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. This album feels much more like electro sort of pop than the orchestral sort of feeling it had in the previous album. think I prefer this, to be honest. The percussion on this track is... I love it. It's so good. Catchy hook. Yeah, this is more like kind of weird pop than a medieval battle scene, you know. The bass and drums on this track really stand out for me. Some weird stuff going on Berkeley that I do like. A good level of intensity, like the track, it keeps driving forwards. Yeah, no, I can see why that's the most popular track of this album. I would listen to that happily. Yeah, that was really good. I like the sort of poppier direction. It's still weird enough that it's not like a full-on pop song, but it does have some like catchier elements that I think serve it quite well. Track 4 is the title track, Probable Depths. This is really pretty and lyrically quite clever. I haven't really been able to pick up on a lot of the lyrics, but when I do, they seem pretty good. And I love her piano as always. Okay, dubstep. Why do I really like this? I really like this. So many different styles, it's so confusing. Although the dubstep works really well. Again, the percussive elements really stand out as well. I don't know what just happened. I went on a journey, a very strange journey. Yeah, that was good in many places, and a little confusing and disjointed in others. Lyrically strong, rhythmically good. The dubstep worked very well, which I'm a bit confused about. It stood out quite aggressively, because it's not really a sound that we've heard so far. It's also not really dubstep, but that's just kind of what my brain immediately thought. Yeah, very different, but good, very good. Interested to see what happens next. I think that's one of the strongest parts of Waif so far throughout both of these albums, is that it's not really boring. It keeps you engaged, and it changes a lot and throws in a bunch of things that you're just not expecting. And I think that's a real strength here. Track number 5, Overthrown. That piano really reminds me of Stardew Valley. I know I said last video that there was a Minecraft synth in there, and I don't think it's a coincidence that my brain is making these connections. I think it's a very sort of dramatic soundtrack kind of feel across both of these albums. I think any of these songs could be a movie or a video game soundtrack, for a very specific genre, I think, but I think they would work quite well as soundtracks. Oh, I think I like this album a lot more than the first. Just initially. I know I'm only halfway through. I think these poppier elements just appeal to me a bit more, because I'm basic. The violin. Mm. So many instruments going on. I think I liked that. This kind of music definitely isn't really the kind of thing you can like have a first reaction to, and for that first reaction to really have any great depth or accuracy, because there's just so much in here that it needs a few listens to be properly understood. That being said, there were definitely some elements in there that I did enjoy, especially the strings. They were very good. I did enjoy that. Track 6, Stutter Stop. Stutter, stutter, stutter. I trip over my... Pretty dark. That bass. Ooh, there's some little electronic textures that I really love. That note is really cool. Oh, here we go. Some real dissonance in this track. I think it's a 7th or something that's just really, it stands out so much. So many layers. Like, I don't know what to focus on. These tracks, they're all pretty similar. There's some slower parts that are more lyric focused, and then they get really big, and the tempo changes or something changes, and a bunch of layers and instruments come in. It's an interesting style, and I'm just so not used to it that I think my brain is a bit confused about what to think. But there are several elements in it that I really did enjoy, and I'm keen to keep going. I'm not like dreading reacting to the next few albums, because yeah, it's always interesting with Waif from what I've experienced so far. Alright, track 7, Know Your Body. She has such good vocal control. I know your body. Very slow, a much slower song than most of the others. Which is an interesting mix-up towards the end of the album. Some birds. And some rain, I think. There's some ambient sort of effects in there. A much more repetitive song. Very few electronic elements. Mostly just piano and vocals. Which is a nice song to have in this spot, second to last, I think. Nice short track. Very pretty, again. And the piano across both of these albums has been, I think, a real strength. So it's good to see that used on its own in some parts, because it stands out so much to me. Yeah, final track 8, Tactilian. Again, some really interesting percussive elements. Reminds me of like Andrew Huang and how he'll use random objects as percussion. It kind of sounds a bit like that. Ooh, nice harmonies. Some really nice harmonies on this track. There have been harmonies across the whole album, but they really stand out here. Very strong beat. And not too much instrumentation, like it's not overpowering the vocals or anything. cool change in rhythm. Yeah, the percussion on this album has really stood out as well, in a positive way. There's some really unusual sounds, but they work really well. I like this section. Really catchy melody. And some horns as well. I'm a sucker for horns. Wow. Yeah, cool. No, that was a cool outro. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed that album, I think, more than the previous one. There are definitely a lot more, typically poppier sections. I know it's still definitely not pop, it's still very electronic, and there are definitely some orchestral elements. I think those have really been toned down a little bit here. But overall, yeah, enjoyable. I'm keen to give it another listen, because there was, again, so many layers, so much depth, so many things to listen into further and really analyze. I don't know, with this artist, I'm not really picking up on a lot of the lyrics on first listen, so that's definitely something I'll go back and listen for. But I did like that. That was a very fun experience to just sit down and listen all the way through. Definitely a lot of sonic evolution. I'm keen to see how that continues into the next few projects. That was my reaction to Waif's second album, Probable Depth. A solid project. I enjoyed it. Still not something I would probably listen to casually, but I think we've established that this artist is a little outside of the norm for me, and that's good. That's how people learn and grow, and I'm happy to listen to this like kind of experimental electro pop and expand my horizons. That's all from me for today. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if there's an artist or an album in particular that you would like me to look at in the future. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And that's all. Thank you very much. Goodbye.